My sister crashed my wedding but was arrested for now that she is facing jail. My parents want me to help, but I refuse. So, I, 24F, got married about a week ago, and things went very wrong. Let me start from the beginning. I have an older sister named Stacy, 26F. We have always had a strong sibling rivalry, and I am serious about it. Growing up, we despised each other because we were always trying to outdo each other. We never got along, and as we grew older, we continued to despise each other. We were sure not to show others how much we loathed one another, but it was all there beneath the surface. When we were living together, she and I didn't talk to each other and simply put up a show for our family members when they visited. Even our parents realized we didn't like each other, and they never tried to make things right between us. In some ways, I believe that is what led to so many things going wrong in the end, but I will get to that later. She moved out when she was 18 to attend college, and I was relieved because it meant I could finally be myself around the house instead of continuously walking on eggshells because of her. She would only come back for the holidays and talk about how wonderful her life was since she was attending one of the greatest business schools in the state. I was a little jealous of her, but my sole goal was to work harder than her and get into a better place, which I achieved. I was accepted into an Ivy League school. That was a great slap in the face for her, and I was celebrated far more than she ever was. I expected that getting into an Ivy League institution would put a stop to our competition, but that did not happen. She suddenly revealed that she was beginning her own business. She completed the task with the assistance of my father. I'm not sure if it was luck or hard effort, but her firm took off a few years ago, and she relocated to Japan to expand the technological side of it. It was a huge success, and our parents were really proud of her. That was roughly 2 years ago. Since then, she has lived in Japan. Unfortunately, things didn't go so well for me once I finished college. The fact that Stacy was succeeding so much only exacerbated the situation. I had gotten a job, but it was nowhere near as glamorous or rewarding as what she was doing, so I quit shortly after joining. That was a terrible mistake, and I know it now because I should have stayed there and worked my way up. But I was a fool for competing with my sister when I should have focused on myself and my work. It was a very decision on my behalf, and I regret it, but it's finished now. After I quit my job, there was a period in which I waited for something to simply fall into my lap. When it didn't happen, I became depressed. It also didn't help that Stacy was excelling in her area, and her business was something my parents always bragged about. I despised it, but I couldn't say anything without appearing resentful and jealous. Even though I was feeling both of these emotions, I had to disguise them when I met with my family and seemed to be pleased for Stacy because anything other than happiness was an inappropriate emotion. That was about the time I met my spouse, Jackson, 25M. I'm very pleased I did because meeting him transformed my life. It had been roughly 6 months since I had resigned from my job and had been hoping for a better opportunity to come along, but with no success. As I previously stated, I was deeply miserable and disappointed with my life. So, I downloaded a dating application. I wasn't really searching for something serious, I just wanted to meet people and use it as a way to distract myself from how horrible things were going for me. I was trying to pay rent and buy basic necessities for myself. I had to rely on my parents for money. They'd send me money every month. I also had some money saved from when I was working, but it wasn't enough, and I was struggling to pay my bills. My parents would bail me out, and I would promise them every month that I would return all of their money as soon as I could. I could always sense displeasure in their tones, which drove me insane because I knew I wasn't doing my best. It was really difficult for me to accept the fact that, at the time, Stacy was faring better than I was, and I was a tremendous disappointment to my parents. So, I was utilizing dating apps and going on random dates with men I didn't even like, all to distract myself from my feelings. For a while, it worked. I went on a few dates over the course of many weeks with individuals who were solely interested in hooking up. It was basically casual. However, that changed after I paired with Jackson. He was an extremely interesting guy to talk to at first, and he checked all of my boxes. He had also received straight A's in school, but after graduating from high school, he attended culinary school and was working in a restaurant when we met 2 years ago. He was humorous, engaging, and had the perfect amount of machismo. But at the time, I assured him I wasn't seeking something serious. When he asked me out on a date after nearly 2 weeks of talking online, he said he was seeking something serious and did not want to be in a casual relationship. He was dating to marry. I appreciated how honest and open he was about his feelings, so I decided to give it a shot. Not knowing what was in store for me, I went out with him after agreeing on a first date to see how things went. And it went extremely nicely. It felt like we'd known each other for years. I think it was the best date I've ever had. We had a great time, and with him, I didn't feel like I was trying to prove anything. That was the first time I'd ever felt that way around other people, so it was a refreshing change. Our talk flowed easily, and we just clicked. I'm not sure what changed, but I decided to give our relationship a proper shot. We went on several more dates, but after only 3 months together, I discovered that I was pregnant. At the time, all I was concerned about was how Jackson would react to it. Within the first few weeks of our relationship, He had learned almost everything he needed to know about me. I had told him everything about myself and my family, including how I had spent my entire childhood competing with and trying to outdo my sister. But being with him inspired me to be a better person, a person of my own. He already knew everything about me, and I believe I knew everything about him at that moment. In reality, he was the one who pushed me to get out of my depressive state and actively seek a job rather than waiting for something to come to me. So, I ended up returning to my previous position at the company from which I had resigned, and I believe that was one of the best moves I've ever made. By the time I discovered I was pregnant, I had been working for over a month, and things with Jackson were going well. I was just concerned about his reaction to the news. Most people would believe it was too soon and withdraw from the relationship because they were terrified. But deep inside, I genuinely wanted the baby. It simply felt perfect. I can't put it into words, but I just felt prepared to be a mother. To my surprise, when I told Jackson about my pregnancy, he was very supportive. He informed me that it was my body, therefore I could do anything I wanted, and that he would support me regardless of what I did. When I told him I wanted to keep the kid, no one was happier than him. He explained that he had wanted me to keep the baby because he believed he was also ready. Even though we were young and had only been together for 3 months, he told me he didn't want to seem insane or come across as overly powerful, so he left it up to me. But my decision had made him the happiest guy alive. We agreed that, despite the fact that we were expecting a kid, we would wait to get to know each other better before marrying. It was decided. We pushed ahead with the pregnancy, and a few weeks later, we discovered that we were having twins. That was another huge surprise, but we dealt with it. He moved in with me soon after we learned about the pregnancy and introduced me to his parents around the same time. His parents were quite lovely, and they appeared to love all of their children equally without ever pressuring them to compete with one another. It appeared to be a healthy family, and it was the first time I had seen how one worked because I had never experienced it firsthand. However, I was hesitant to introduce him to my family because I knew my parents wouldn't approve of my life choices. I was a talented student with a promising future, but I had opted to have children with a man I had only known for less than a year. I'd even moved in with him. Any parent would disapprove of this, and I knew my parents would probably lose their minds. So, I kept putting it off until I started to show, at which point I realized there was no way to hide it. I organized a meeting with them when I was 4 months pregnant and decided to tell them everything. I invited them over to my house and had Jackson present for moral support. They knew I had been dating Jackson for a time, but they had no idea I had been living with him or that I would soon be the mother of his children. When I informed them about it, I anticipated them to get angry and yell at me. But they responded in an unexpected way. They truly appeared to be delighted for me. They were overjoyed and hugged me, congratulating me on my pregnancy. And when I informed them I was having twins, my mother nearly collapsed with joy. It was an unexpected reaction, but I was relieved that they were not upset with me. In fact, once they found out, they threw a party and proclaimed to everyone that they were about to become grandparents. I also informed them that Jackson and I did not want to marry solely because we were having children together. We wanted to live together for a while before making such a significant commitment. They were cool with it as well. They were incredibly supportive of everything, which surprised me, but in a positive way. I was really relieved that my parents were on my side in this, since I would have despised it if they had turned against me or attempted to change my mind about things. I even spoke with them about how supportive they were, and I stated that I had not expected that from them. They told me that they were aware that they had never truly been excellent parents since they had never stopped my sister and me from competing with one another throughout our childhood. They felt they were doing something nice. They believed that continually pushing us to achieve better would help us succeed. However, they understood that doing so may have harmed us in the long run. This epiphany occurred when they discovered that I had quit my job in order to pursue a better opportunity. They recognized that Stacy's success with her own business had influenced her decision. They realized that I wanted to accomplish something on my own to outdo Stacy. I thought it was strange that they knew about it even though I had never mentioned it to them. However, they stated that as parents, they were aware of what was going on and felt responsible for it. They wanted me to know that whatever happened, they would be there for me. I didn't have to continually compete with Stacy to prove that I deserved their love and affection. They would always adore me, and they were equally proud of both of us because we had always given our all. That was the most important thing to them. It was a much-needed chat, and I'm glad I talked it out with my folks. It made things much simpler for me during the pregnancy and afterwards because I could openly ask my parents to help me with the kids while Jackson and I worked. They also informed me that they had a similar interaction with Stacy. However, it appears that things did not proceed as planned. She had just smiled and said she didn't need them to say such things because she truly thought I was a sore loser. In her opinion, I was having a breakdown, which is why my parents tried to be understanding by telling us that they were equally proud of both of us. But she understood the truth and refused to believe that our parents were truly attempting to turn a new leaf and become better parents. She was persuaded that she was more deserving of their love since, by her own standards, she was performing better in life. My parents assured me that they would speak with her again when she returned for the holidays because internet discussions were not the same. They promised me that they would have the same chat with her as they had with me, and she would finally stop trying to compete with me. Until that time, she had gone to great lengths to make me feel horrible. Since I revealed my pregnancy, she has been sending me backhanded compliments and making sarcastic remarks in the family group chat, completely inappropriate. She was clearly attempting to tear me down and make me feel awful about the pregnancy, even though I saw no reason to feel bad about it. To her, however, it was clearly a failure, a massive one. In her eyes, I was knocked up before marriage and living with a guy I had hardly met. So, for her, this was a big win. She assumed she could now say whatever she wanted to me without repercussions. It was really grating on my nerves, and I had considered leaving the group chat multiple times, but my parents persuaded me to stay since they were genuinely trying to be better parents and wanted us to stick together. So, I stayed for their sake. My parents pledged to put an end to this, or at least do their best. And if they couldn't, I could leave the group. When Stacy returned for Christmas, my parents informed me they were going to talk to her, and they did. Unfortunately, she was already too far gone by then. Her main purpose in life at the time was to me and make me feel as tiny as possible. She was intolerable that year. Even though she had been extremely unpleasant in the previous few years due to her thriving business, that year was far worse. Not only had she just returned from Japan, but she was also aware that I was pregnant and nowhere near her level of accomplishment and riches. She used every chance to remind everyone of this. She was constantly talking about herself, giving me stares, and even sarcastically asking if I was not happy for her. It was quite awkward and uncomfortable. I had to leave the party early because I was trying so hard not to lose my anger and cry in front of everyone. After the Christmas party, my parents attempted to contact Stacy again in the hopes that she would stop calling. Instead, she stated that she had worked hard to be where she is and she would not allow me to take that away from her. She stated she had every right to brag about it as she pleased, and I would just have to deal with it. That was when I decided to ties with her. I exited the group chat, and my parents agreed that it was for the best. We hadn't communicated for 2 years, and I had no idea what she had been up to, but I recently learned from a couple of my relatives that she had returned from Japan with a baby. I first heard about it around 4 weeks ago. Apparently, it was a miracle baby who was just 2 months old. My parents told me that they had had multiple video chats with her before she returned, and they had never detected anything, not even the faintest indication that she was pregnant. She explained that she wanted it to be a surprise for everyone. She stated she had recently become a mother and had married in a secret ceremony only a year before. Now she was ready to discuss it. The timing was nothing short of suspect. Almost everyone in the family thought I was going to marry around the same time. But now, thanks to her, everyone is only talking about her marriage and daughter. She stated that her husband remained in Japan due to a heavy workload and was unable to make it, but she had returned with her daughter because she wanted her family to meet her. I couldn't let something like that bother me since I was getting married, and it was meant to be a lovely time. So, even after she returned, I continued to avoid her. Unfortunately, it didn't matter because she managed to spoil my wedding. She showed up on my wedding day unannounced. Just after the ceremony, I noticed her among the guests. I nearly flipped out, but Jackson and my folks helped me relax. Apparently, she had snuck in, and making a disturbance would only play into her hands and make my wedding all about her. As long as she wasn't actively causing problems, we decided to let her stay and deal with it later. I was being married at Jackson's aunt's farmhouse, so security wasn't tight, which is how she got inside. Now I regret not spending enough money on security. If I had, we could have avoided a lot of problems. Throughout her time at the wedding, all she talked about was how fortunate she was to have her miracle baby and how my children were illegitimate and did not count because I had them before marriage. It was quite insulting. She was saying that to everyone she met while attending my wedding. Later on, numerous visitors approached me and told me about it. I had to grin and let it go since I didn't want to argue with her and ruin my own wedding. It was quite challenging, but I managed to get through it. At one point, I nearly lost it. But before I could say anything, the police the venue. I had no idea what was happening. They sealed the entrances, and we were locked in within seconds. Then they arrested Stacy. It was really disorienting. A woman was screaming and crying while holding the baby that was meant to be my sister's, saying it was actually hers. After that, everything became a blur, statements, handcuffs, and uncertainty. It was not until much later that we realized what had transpired. The baby had never been Stacy's. Apparently, all of the photos she had shown us were taken from a friend's social media account. She'd photoshopped herself into them like some sicko. And the worst part? All of the occasions she had met us with the kid, she had been babysitting for her friend. She had been living with a friend since she returned from Japan because she had terminated the lease on her own apartment and was seeking a new place. So, she was babysitting for free. That was why Mom had never invited our parents or relatives to see her. Then, on the day of my wedding, she decided to go too far. She attended my wedding without her friend's permission. She had gotten the baby out while her friend and her friend's husband were sleeping. She then refused to answer any subsequent calls. That's why her friends had to contact the cops and have her detained. Fortunately, she had been constantly discussing my wedding and how she wanted to take me down, so her pals had guessed where she would be. This is how they found her and arrested her. It was really ridiculous. I still can't believe what happened, but it did. My family and I are still fighting to cope with it. Thinking Stacy was a fierce competitor was one thing, but knowing that she was willing to go to such extreme crazy lengths only to show our parents that she was better than me, that was extremely concerning. She is now pleading with her friends not to bring charges against her because she is well aware that she would not win this case. If charges are filed, she will face jail time. So far, nothing has happened. Yet, she blames me for everything. She thinks I was simply getting married to rub it in her face. Now, don't forget that I haven't spoken to her in almost 2 years. I haven't spoken to her since our previous conversation, and I was even polite enough to let her crash my wedding because I didn't want to cause a scene or shame her. She was the one who transformed my wedding into something nasty. If anything, I should be blaming her. Pals had guessed where she would be. This is how they found her and arrested her. It was really ridiculous. I still can't believe what happened, but it did. My family and I are still fighting to cope with it. Thinking Stacy was a fierce competitor was one thing, but knowing that she was willing to go to such extreme crazy lengths only to show our parents that she was better than me, that was extremely concerning. She is now pleading with her friends not to bring charges against her because she is well aware that she would not win this case. If charges are filed, she will face jail time. So far, nothing has happened. Yet, she blames me for everything. She thinks I was simply getting married to rub it in her face. Now, don't forget that I haven't spoken to her in almost 2 years. I haven't spoken to her since our previous conversation, and I was even polite enough to let her crash my wedding because I didn't want to cause a scene or shame her. She was the one who transformed my wedding into something nasty. If anything, I should be blaming her. When she contacted me yesterday and told me that I needed to convince her friends that I had pushed her to do something crazy, I told her precisely what I believed. I told her that I wished she would wind up in prison because that is where she belongs, either that or the psych facility, as she is mad. My parents, however, believe that I must assist her at this time. They want me to persuade her friends that she wasn't thinking straight because I was tormenting her with news of my marriage and children. That way, they may not file charges against her and have her detained. So far, the matter has become slightly more problematic because she had been living with them and babysitting the infant. The police have yet to figure out what to do about it. They cannot proceed without her friend's permission. It would have been a clear case of if she hadn't been living with them and actively caring for their infant while they were away. But that is not the situation here. That is why she has managed to stay out of jail for the time being. She continued insisting that they had already agreed to her taking the kid with her anytime she wanted. But there's no way to corroborate it yet, so she's not in big trouble. All we need to do is persuade them not to file charges. But I am not sure I want to do it. I don't believe she deserves any assistance from me, of all people. But my parents believe it would be bad of me to turn my back on her. So, am I a bad person for wanting my sister to go to jail? Update 1. Okay, I've chosen to connections with my entire family, including my parents. Yes, they were quite useful during my pregnancy and after the baby, but I'm done with them now. I believe I will require some time alone. Whether they are supportive or not is irrelevant to me right now. I simply want to be with my husband and children, period. And I can't do it if I continue to get caught up in their drama. So, I'm withdrawing myself from the issue since it's causing me mental distress. I am grateful to my parents for everything they did once I revealed my pregnancy. But really, I am so tired of everything. As for Stacy, I think it's clear why I don't want to aid her. She does not deserve my help. She dug her own grave, so she could get out on her own. Jackson thinks I'm making the proper decision. Connections with my entire family, including my parents. Yes, they were quite useful during my pregnancy and after the baby, but I'm done with them now. I believe I will require some time alone. Whether they are supportive or not is irrelevant to me right now. I simply want to be with my husband and children, period. And I can't do it if I continue to get caught up in their drama. So, I'm withdrawing myself from the issue since it's causing me mental distress. I am grateful to my parents for everything they did once I revealed my pregnancy. But really, I am so tired of everything. As for Stacy, I think it's clear why I don't want to aid her. She does not deserve my help. She dug her own grave, so she could get out on her own. Cut connections with my entire family, including my parents. Yes, they were quite useful during my pregnancy and after the baby, but I'm done with them now. I believe I will require some time alone. Whether they are supportive or not is irrelevant to me right now. I simply want to be with my husband and children, period. And I can't do it if I continue to get caught up in their drama. So, I'm withdrawing myself from the issue since it's causing me mental distress. I am grateful to my parents for everything they did once I revealed my pregnancy. But really, I am so tired of everything. As for Stacy, I think it's clear why I don't want to aid her. She does not deserve my help. She dug her own grave, so she could cut connections with my entire family, including my parents. Yes, they were quite useful during my pregnancy and after the baby, but I'm done with them now. I believe I will require some time alone. Whether they are supportive or not is irrelevant to me right now. I simply want to be with my husband and children, period. And I can't do it if I continue to get caught up in their drama. So, I'm withdrawing myself from the issue since it's causing me mental distress. I am grateful to my parents for everything they did once I revealed my pregnancy. But really, I am so tired of everything. As for Stacy, I think it's clear why I don't want to aid her. She does not deserve my gut connections with my entire family, including my parents. Yes, they were quite useful during my pregnancy and after the baby, but I'm done with them now. I believe I will require some time alone. Whether they are supportive or not is irrelevant to me right now. I simply want to be with my husband and children, period. And I can't do it if I continue to get caught up in their drama. So, I'm withdrawing myself from the issue since it's causing me mental distress. I am grateful to my parents for everything they did once I revealed my pregnancy. But really, I am so tired of everything. Cut connections with my entire family, including my parents. Yes, they were quite useful during my pregnancy and after the baby, but I'm done with them now. I believe I will require some time alone. Whether they are supportive or not is irrelevant to me right now. I simply want to be with my husband and children, period. And I can't do it if I continue to get caught up in their drama. So, I'm withdrawing myself from the issue since it's causing me mental distress. I am grateful to my parents for everything they did once I revealed my pregnancy. But really, I am so tired of cut connections with my entire family, including my parents. Yes, they were quite useful during my pregnancy and after the baby, but I'm done with them now. I believe I will require some time alone. Whether they are supportive or not is irrelevant to me right now. I simply want to be with my husband and children, period. And I can't do it if I continue to get caught up in their drama. So, I'm withdrawing myself from the issue since it's causing me mental distress. I am grateful to my parents' gut connections with my entire family, including my parents. Yes, they were quite useful during my pregnancy and after the baby, but I'm done with them now. I believe I will require some time alone. Whether they are supportive or not is irrelevant to me right now. I simply want to be with my husband and children, period. And I can't do it if I continue to get caught up in their drama. So, I'm withdrawing myself from the issue since it's causing me mental distress. I am grateful to my gut connections with my entire family, including my parents. Yes, they were quite useful during my pregnancy and after the baby, but I'm done with them now. I believe I will require some time alone. Whether they are supportive or not is irrelevant to me right now. I simply want to be with my husband and children, period. And I can't do it if I continue to get caught up in their drama. So, I'm withdrawing myself from the issue since it's causing me mental connections with my entire family, including my parents. Yes, they were quite useful during my pregnancy and after the baby, but I'm done with them now. I believe I will require some time alone. Whether they are supportive or not is irrelevant to me right now. I simply want to be with my husband and children, period. And I can't do it if I continue to get caught up in their drama. So, I'm cut connections with my entire family, including my parents. Yes, they were quite useful during my pregnancy and after the baby, but I'm done with them now. I believe I will require some time alone. Whether they are supportive or not is irrelevant to me right now. I simply want to be with my husband and children, period. And I can't do it if I continue to get caught up in cut connections with my entire family, including my parents. Yes, they were quite useful during my pregnancy and after the baby, but I'm done with them now. I believe I will require some time alone. Whether they are supportive or not is irrelevant to me right now. I simply want to be with my cut connections with my entire family, including my parents. Yes, they were quite useful during my pregnancy and after the baby, connections with my update too. So, I recently heard from a couple of my family that Stacy is in serious difficulty. Her pals have officially chosen to seek charges and take this thing further. So far, Stacy has claimed that she has her friend's permission to take the kid whenever she wants, but that will be extremely tough to show in court. Given her behavior during the wedding and how she had been claiming the child as her own, I can't see how she can get out of this. It's upsetting, but really, I cannot say I am surprised. I'm also not speaking with my folks right now, and I don't think I will until they admit that what I did was correct and that they apologize for asking me to help her. That's a lot to ask, but I don't want to speak with them until they understand how terribly they messed things up for Stacy and me as children. They must acknowledge that this is partly their fault. Update 3, Hi. So, Stacy is now on trial. We don't know what will happen to her yet, but if she is convicted, she may face up to 5 years in jail. She is mentally unstable, which could result in a lower sentence. Anyway, that isn't our business. Jackson and I are still going on our honeymoon. We're going to try to make amends for our horrible wedding. I can't ask my parents to babysit because we still don't communicate, so we'll have to ask Jackson's parents to watch our kids while we're gone. But it'll just be for 2 weeks, so it's not too long. I'm simply hoping my honeymoon is better than my wedding. And honestly, I have a feeling it will happen because this time it will be just me and Jackson.